would be an 84% increase in the price of this stock. All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. A little bit about myself. I have a background in accounting. I was a CPA. I've been working with numbers for over 30 years, and I have a bunch of experience as a retail investor. I want to try to share my experience with you, and along the way, maybe we can all make some money. Today, I want to talk to you about a company called Romeo Power, stock ticker RMO. Romeo is an energy storage technology company. So the reason that I want to go through this is they've recently released their third quarter results. I have done a few videos on this in the past, so you can go back to like August and take a look at those if you want to deep dive to see what was happening then. So this stock has been beaten down and left for dead. So we'll look at the chart later and you'll see what I mean by that. This stock this week has been trading at or near its all-time low, and it's down 80 or 90% from its all-time high, which was just December of last year, so less than 1 year ago. This company had some struggles and they were having trouble righting the ship, but I think they are on the right track now, and I want to go through the third quarter results and tell you what I'm thinking and what I'm seeing and why I am a buyer at the current price. Romeo Power announces third quarter 2021 financial results. This was on 11/15/2021, so this was about 9 days ago. Under recent business highlights, I'm going to go to D. Improved parts availability for both battery cells and components to supply production volume scale up. And you'll see why that is really the most important thing on this whole report, in my opinion. So third quarter financial updates generated revenue of $5.8 million. A 753% increase over the prior year as the company launched product shipments to the company's largest customer. So again, that's $5.8 million in revenue. And to put that in perspective, we're going to talk about what's happened in the past and what they're projecting going forward. Also, very importantly, cash and cash equivalents and investments as of September 30th, 2021 were $181 million, reflecting continued strong liquidity, which is crucial for this company. They have not reached profitability yet. However, they have a massive cash reserve. And so that is one of the key things that I look at with this company. Do they have the cash to get where they're going? And it looks to me like they do. When announcing the first quarter earning results earlier in the year, Romeo had to disclose that basically the supply chain for their battery cells was broken and they were unable to get any battery cells at all. And as a function of that, really, they were not able to sell anything. So they reported an extremely disappointing $1 million in sales in the first quarter. To put it in perspective, prior to coming into the year, their sales goal for the year was $140 million. In this first quarter conference, they had to announce that they have a massive supply chain issue. They lowered their estimate for this year to $18 to $40 million, again from $140 million. So that is a drastic decrease. And then they reported revenues in Q1 of $1 million, which is next to zero. Q2, similar situation. They reported actually less than $1 million in revenue, about $900,000 in revenue. So at that point, obviously, they had still not solved their problem. Now, they had issued a press release. There was a little bit of a cloud of uncertainty around that, but they talked about a new relationship they had that was going to solve this problem on a going forward basis. They just hadn't done it yet. So Q1 and Q2 were basically $1 million or less than $1 million in sales. So they just put out these Q3 numbers, and now we see $5.8 million in sales. So Q3, although this is not what they were expecting coming into the year, that is by far their highest quarterly revenue in the history of their company. And it also seems to represent the fact that this relationship that they've talked about for getting battery cells is legitimate and it is working. We'll talk more about that relationship later. They basically went from a company that had to all but shut down production to really turning the switch back on in the third quarter. So in my opinion, that is a dramatic change. Okay, so in here they say minimum quantity commitments related to contracts signed through September of 2021 is approximately $547 million of backlog. So that's $547 million of backlog for a company that in Q1 and Q2 did $1 million in business. Now they've ramped up to $5.8 million. So you can see they have a massive backlog. Now, that is not all going to come at once. That will come over the course of years, but they have some secure backlog. They then go on to say, with the completion of the delivery of engineering and and prototype services, we expect to recognize approximately $9.8 million of this backlog revenue during the remainder of our fiscal year end December 31st, 2021. So that is the fourth quarter. So they're looking to go from $5.8 million in revenue. Now they're forecasting $9.8 million in revenue. So you can see they are rapidly trending upward. Now we need to see this trend continue, but this is by far the most encouraging signs we've seen come out of this company over the course of the whole year. So for me, these Q3 results are a game changer. They got a little pop on their stock the day they announced this, but they've come back down and they're sitting, like I said, over the last week at or near their all-time low. So just to go a little deeper on their supply chain issue. In the notes of their financial statements, they say, we have signed a supply agreement effective August 10th, 2021 with a supplier for the purchase of battery cells over the period from 2021 to 2028. As part of the supply agreement, we made a $64.7 million prepayment to the supplier to secure the supply of cells through the term of the contract. They've given these people a $64.7 million deposit, which will be offset as they buy batteries. So this seems like, and you'll see they talk about global battery cell shortage. I'm not going to read you all this, but basically this is a reiteration that these battery cells are in short supply and huge demand due to the massive increase in EV activity in the year 2021, as well as a massive global disruption in the supply chain. So I would say things are heading dramatically in the right direction for this company. So with all of that said, let's take a look at their stock price. Okay, I'm going to start with the big picture. So you can see this is the daily chart for the last year. On December 28th of last year, they reached $38.90. From that point through this point today, they are down about 88% on their stock price. So that is a drastic reduction. You can see why this stock took a beating. You know, they had 2 quarters in a row of no sales. There was a lot of question marks, but to me, the question marks are starting to get answered. So it really doesn't make sense to me that this is still cascading down at or near its all-time low. Right, it's run up a little bit today. It's at $4.23. $3.94 was its all-time low, and it almost hit that this morning. So let's zoom in a little bit and take a closer look. If we zoom in, you can see this, they were trading at about $6.38, which was still dramatically down. Again, this company was near $40 earlier in the year. So you can see right here, this is E for earnings report. So that was the second quarter earnings report. So on that earnings report, you'll see on that day, they basically took a 26% hit to a stock that was already at its all-time low. But again, this was now, at that point, the second quarter in a row of reporting almost zero in sales, leaving stockholders to wonder if they were ever going to get their operations back online. Fast forward to November 16th, and you'll see here again, earnings. So this was just a week and a half ago. So on their earnings day, they had a giant increase of about 25%, from about $4.40 to about $5.55 or 60 cents. However, unfortunately, they proceeded to go straight back down and actually break below where they were to their all-time low, which is where they're trading at now. So in my mind, looking at this stock traded above, I have a purple line at $6.38. Up until earnings day, it had been above that. That was its all-time low, and it tested that back here in May, and it kind of bounced along that line in August, and then they reported earnings and broke underneath that. So to me, the fact that revenue is back up and running and they seem to be operational, just to get back to the day before their second quarter earnings would be an 84% increase in the price of this stock. And that's just getting back to about $7.50. So that would still be historically for them extremely low. You can see that in June, this stock was at just under $11. And in March, this stock was at $15, and obviously it went ballistic earlier in the year and got up to almost $40. And this is a chart of their market cap over the last year. So, we saw in the stock price reduction, we know that this is dramatic, but this was nearly a $3 billion company, and now it's about a $500 million company. So, particularly, this was the drop right here from almost $1 billion down to, about $500 million on their second quarter earnings report. So to me, they should at least make up that ground in my mind, or I think there is the potential for them to make up that ground. So again, remember, this is not financial advice. This is my due diligence. Hopefully this will be of some use to you guys and you can take it and do your own due diligence. Ultimately, you need to make your buying decision on this stock. I will tell you that I am a buyer right now at or around the $4 range with my medium-term price expectation at around $7.50. And I think it has the potential to go way up from there over the long term. So this is a buy and hold for me because this may not happen quickly. I believe this company is probably going to have to prove itself one quarter at a time and one positive press release at a time. But I believe there's very little downside left on this company. So the risk-reward equation for me, I think, is excellent on this company. So again, that's what I'm doing with it. You guys can decide for yourselves. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.